after the church service one Sunday morning, little 7-year-old Brian went up to the preacher and he said, "Preacher, when I get older, I'm going to give you money." And the preacher looked and he said, "That's so nice of you. But Brian, why are you going to give me money?" And he looked up at him and he said, "Well, because my dad said you're the poorest preacher we've ever had." Has nothing to do with the talk, but I just like jokes. So, okay. So this year, we have been focusing on one of the 12 powers at some point each month. And just a reminder, the 12 powers were written by our co-founder, Charles Fillmore. He related each of the powers to a disciple that most represented that, and also to an area in our body. And so we started with the power. Well, first I'm going to tell you what William Warch said in his book. He said, "In developing our spiritual gifts, the 12 powers, we are realizing that we are more than a quantity. We are the absolute. We are more than strong. We are strength itself. We are more than wise. We are wisdom itself. We are more than loving and orderly. We are love and order. And above all, we are not merely living life, but we are life." And he goes on to say that we sometimes slip into thinking that we are developing these gifts, and I have actually used that word numerous times. The reality is that they are all perfect in us now. What we are developing is our awareness of our conscious use of them. And so hopefully that with it each month, we've been able to reveal more and more of these powers. We started out with the power of love, and remembering that love is the one and only presence and power. It is what is everything, is love. Then we talked about wisdom, and wisdom is our ability to discern. And we talked about faith, and that's our ability to believe, even when we can't see it happening yet. And then we talked about understanding, and understanding that God does stand under everything. And understanding is really where we move to that spiritual understanding when things kind of go in a different direction in our life than what we anticipated, and we can't really understand it yet. We move to that higher spiritual understanding that God is standing under it. And then we talked about release, and release is our ability to let go. Order is my ability to keep God first in all things. Would we agree that when we remember to keep God first in all things, that our lives are kind of better? Yeah, kind of cool, isn't it? The big thing is remembering to do it, right? Zeal is our ability to spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that ought to be done by me, Charles Fillmore. Power is my ability to convert an idea into words that I speak and actions that I take. And today we're going to talk about the power of life. And life is found in our generative center in our bodies. And life, interestingly enough, is actually represented by the disciple Judas Iscariot. As we were taught, and someday I'm going to talk more about Judas, but Judas betrayed life. And so what this brings up for us is our awareness of looking and seeing where perhaps we are betraying life in our own bodies. And the disciple that actually followed him, and it's either Matthias or Matthias, he represents the lifting up of this faculty of life. So today, I'm hoping that by the end of this service, your life faculty is going to be lifted up. I might be a unevangelist today. I'm kind of on fire today. So, I love this. God is the life force that flows through me. Can we say this together? It's the life force that flows through me. Yes, you guys are so good at this stuff. I love that. Okay, life is my ability to heal, to mend, to regenerate. It's my vitality. It's my energy. Life is why we're here. Life is why we're sitting here today. It's a vital part of the bigger reality that we're going to talk about in a minute. Charles Fillmore reminds us that life is always present in us, in its fullness, that we can never deplete life, that it always was, it is now, and it always will be. It's the animating activity of us. Life right now, think about this, right now, life is breathing us. It's causing everything in our bodies to work as it's working right now. It's causing us to see and to hear and to be able to move. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? I mean, have you ever really, really stopped to think and be grateful for life, the life energy that is really moving through you, that's pretty amazing. So I shared last week, and I can't remember if the week before, but from Imelda Shanklin, from her book, What Are You? And Imelda Shanklin was a Unity minister many, many, many years ago. And I'm going to tell you that I have been in Unity for over 27 years, and I've read a lot of books. But I have never read anything that has taken me deeper than this is taking me right now. It is amazing material. And I don't know if maybe that's because I wasn't ready for it. But this stuff right here is, I sit and I read it, and it excites me because it's so pure. And one of the things I love about Imelda Shanklin is that she speaks very purely, and much like Myrtle Fillmore, she doesn't cut you any slack. And I like that because it keeps you going in the direction that is going to help you create your best life experience. And today we're going to be talking about our physical life experience. So her very first chapter in this book is called, What Are You? And so we're going to talk a little bit about this first because we really have to get it. We have to get what we actually are, not who we are. And so I'm going to share with you the words that she said, and then we're going to talk about it. So this first part is pretty simple. The personal is the seen. It's the body, conduct, and situation. The impersonal is the unseen, spirit, mind, and revelation. Your intention translates the unseen into the seen and makes the what of life become the who of life. So we're talking about us today. And so our intention, which is going to be our consciousness, translates the unseen ethers into the seen and makes the what of life, which is pure and infinite potential and possibility, into who we are today, who we are, how we are showing up in our bodies today. And we get that, right? I mean, we get that from our third basic principles. We are co-creators. So she said the personal you can be changed. And so like John Doe is born, and John Doe becomes Johnny Doe, and then he becomes, in successive order, Lawyer Doe, Judge Doe, Governor Doe. But in all of Johnny Doe's changes of relationship to the world, it's only the who that is concerned. The what never changes. And this is what we really want to really grasp, is the what never changes. And she goes on to say, in the fact that the personal can be changed lies our hope. In the fact that the impersonal is changeless lies our assurance of an attainable perfection in the realms of conscious being. And can we even believe that? Do we actually believe that this is even possible for us? Or does this seem so far out of reality that we can't even comprehend that the fact that the impersonable is changeless is our assurance that what is attainable for us is it. It's perfection, it's wholeness, it's life, no matter where we are in our lives. That's what's attainable for us. So she talks about, and I like this, she talks about that the mind has three fields or three states of being, and she calls them subconsciousness, consciousness, and superconsciousness. Now, interestingly, and I loved how she kind of shifted this, because she said generally, and I know that I've taught this, that we talk about the subconscious mind, the conscious mind, and the superconscious mind. But she's really trying to move us away from the three minds to a state of being where there is only one mind. And so the one mind is the superconscious mind. Super consciousness, and then there's our consciousness and our subconsciousness. And so this kind of answers that question of, of duality or anything like that. It is a oneness. There's only one mind, and we are just expressing that mind. Not even expressions of, we are expressing that mind through us. So she talks about the Trinity. How many of us have heard about the Trinity? Okay, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. So she says, first you say, I feel the assuring presence of a vast good, a something indefinable but infinitely desirable. It draws me toward itself with an irresistible sweetness. And this is where where we know that there's something. And every so often, it's like we touch the hem of the garment, we feel it, we experience it in nature in some beautiful moment, and we want more of that. We want to we really feel a tangible experience of the presence. And that's what she's talking about here. And she says, in this feeling, you sense the eternal, changeless character of your being, which in the language of religion is called the spiritual you. This is the superconsciousness, okay? The spirit. Second, you say, I know, I think, I understand. These declarations are evidence that you have a mental character. This is the mind. And then third, you say, my body, my circumstances, my life. These phrases show that you recognize a third state of being. This state is the physical you, the body. So there's the mind, the body, and the spirit. And it's just important that we see, even though these seem very distinct, they're not. Because superconsciousness is the only true mind. We are just expressing that mind through our subconscious and our conscious. And she talks about the fact that we have spiritual amnesia. And, we come into this world and we're programmed, and then we take on ideas about ourselves and about our bodies and about the nature of life. And we forget. We forget what we are, not who we are, what we are. And we go through our lives and we take things on and we say, this is the way my body is. And they say I have this illness or this disease and it can never be healed, or I'm going to have to take these pills for the rest of my life or whatever. And we stop there. And today is about moving beyond that place and really getting in touch with the what of our beingness. So her first question is, physically, what are you? And so if we were answering that question from our personal, from our who self, we may say, what am I? I'm sick. I'm tired. I'm weak. We may say, something like that. But what she reminds us is that these statements can only be true of the personal. The hurts and limitations of the personal begin where? In the mental region, right, in the mind. Thoughts of unfitness and defamation of character, they persuade your body to misrepresent your spiritual nature. I want to say this again. Thoughts of unfitness and defamation of character, any thoughts that are in opposition to this greater reality, they persuade our body, our physical being, to misrepresent our spiritual nature. We're shaping and forming and molding. That's our third principle, isn't it? And so we've got to wake up and become aware and do something different in order to have a different experience here. And she reminds us to never mistake this observable form for the source of life, for the true transmitter of life, because this visible form is not the true transmitter. There's one mind. That is the true transmitter of life. So, and based on our recognition of that, my friends, we will reconstruct our bodies. We will absolutely reconstruct our bodies. Do you believe that? Yeah, that we can actually do that. So she says, you may identify yourself with the physical in a statement to this effect. This is where we're now moving into reconstructing our bodies. I am a perfect physical specimen, one who is always physically fit. And so this is an affirmation. Now, if you cannot believe that affirmation, is it going to benefit you? No, it will not benefit you. So you may have to alter this a little. And because I can say I am a perfect physical specimen, and I might say one who is moving towards being physically fit, one who is so I would say it's something more, but it's still taking me out of that realm of, oh my gosh, I'm weak, I'm sick, I don't have enough stamina or whatever, and moving into that. She says the perfections that you enumerate are possible. They are sure if you subject the variable personal to the unvarying impersonal. These are true, and they will manifest in our bodies if we subject our error thinking to the superconscious mind. These are true. These will happen. Without a doubt, it will happen. She said, to build physical fitness when unfitness appears More is required than mere wishing. This is where we're getting into it now, because this is where we got to take responsibility. She said, work is required, a regime of thought training that girds up the muscles of the mind and makes them alert, dependable. You must consciously connect with the mind of God, and you must stay connected that your body may be fed with his perfect life. And so what it's saying here, my friends, is that this is not a one-time thing. This is not that we're going to get up in the morning, do some meditation, and go back out into the day and not be aware and in control of our conscious and subconscious minds, of what we're thinking, what we're putting into our bodies, what we're thinking about our bodies. That we have to wake up and become aware. And that as we bring these ideas, these true ideas into mind, and I love how she says that it girds up the muscles of your mind and makes them alert and dependable. Because it's going to take that. It's going to take it. We're going to do it over and over and over and over again until the neural pathways now automatically go to the greater truth, the greater reality. And then we stay connected with that. We stay connected with Source all through our day. And again, it's just that reminder of becoming aware, because I know for myself, and I'm immersed in this, how I can get so far removed from my relationship with the infinite, where I'm so busy and active in something that I'm not even remembering. And so this takes a lot of effort for us to wake up and to become aware and to make this the most important thing, in our life, to bring it that much to the forefront. And I love this. She said, your body is the blossom of your mind. And do you love your blossom? Are you blossoming the way you would like to? That probably wasn't a good question. Okay. Sometimes it comes out before I think. Okay. She said, there is one basic fact in life that you must accept, and the fact is that life in itself is perfect. Life in itself is perfect. And there is another fact, auxiliary to the basic fact. The fact is that you can and usually do misunderstand and mishandle the perfectness of life. Could we say, yeah, yeah, okay. And that's good. That's our first step, to say yes. Okay, but she said, understanding of life begins in you when you commit yourself to the guidance of the superconscious. The superconscious. And so essentially what she's saying here, and I'm just going to read this to you because I love this. She said, your body has a consciousness of its own. That consciousness is composed of what you have taught your body to believe and demand. What you look upon mentally or visually stamps your flesh with its likeness. Whatever of imperfection has been stamped upon your body, hear this, can be removed therefrom by contemplation of the perfect. Can, therefore, be removed by contemplation of the perfect. So we got Myrtle here. And Myrtle, she was always told as she was young that she was weak, that she was sick, and she had tuberculosis, and she grew older, she had her kids, and then her diagnosis was that tuberculosis was so far along, she had 6 months to live. So the stamp upon her consciousness was that she was sick and she would die early. So she goes and she hears E.B. Weeks. She says, I am a child of God, therefore I do not inherit sickness. Now here's the thing. Myrtle didn't just say, I'm a child of God, therefore I do not inherit sickness. I'm all better now. It was not instantaneous for her. What she did, and this is where she went through the thought regime of girding up the muscles of her mind. First of all, she went to her body, into the life centers in her body, and she asked them for forgiveness. And I thought, wow, that's so interesting because, boy, I know, God, my eyes, I wish they would, I wish my eyes weren't like this, or man, my knees always hurting me, or, I'm sick and tired of being tired, or I never have enough energy. How many times do we say negative things about our bodies? And she recognized that. And so she went to them and she said, please forgive me for how I've thought of you. And then she spoke words of life to every part of her physical being. And she meditated. And here's the thing. It was 2 years later that Myrtle was completely healed. 2 years. I want you to think about that. Because how many of us, after 2 weeks are like kind of getting out of the habit. And we get busy on other things. And as I talked about last week, the holy and the sacred, this most sacred thing that is holy, our bodies, do we make it sacred that it is one of the most important things that we're willing to spend the time and energy to shift? It's going to take as long as it takes. Now, we also know that there are people who have instantaneous healings. I've seen that occur. But I think no matter whether it's an instantaneous, I know, whether it's instantaneous or whether it's something that takes a while, it's here. There's becomes a knowing that clicks in the mind. And it says, I am healed. I am healed. And it may take a while for the body to catch up, but don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up, because it will catch up. If you stay with it, it will catch up. So how can we tap into the superconscious mind, the superconsciousness? Well, for me, what works for me is that I take time to go into the silence. And for me, I have a gazillion thoughts that go in my mind. Does anybody else have gazillion thoughts that go in your mind? And so, I think almost like I'm swimming through them. And so as I'm swimming through, I'm just kind of gently pushing them to the side. So I'm getting through my subconscious. I'm getting through my conscious. And because the super consciousness is through these things. So I just imagine that I'm just gently pushing them away. And then I just let myself be. It's almost like a pure light. And I just let myself be in that, just be in that with nothing but just the desire to just be there. And I just let myself be there. And I always get to a place then where I ask or I allow or I see that this super consciousness is enveloping, it's immersing itself in my conscious mind and in my subconscious mind, and it's almost just like showers of light or showers of energy, and it's clearing and it's clearing and it's clearing and it's clearing, and I just stay there until I don't. So I don't have 5 minutes, 20 minutes, 10 minutes. I stay there until I don't, and I just know. I know. Wow, there's been such a cleansing of my mind and my subconscious mind. I can never be the same. I could never be the same unless I turn around and go, oh, God, my bag is so I go back into all of that, and focus my energy there, or talk about how bad I feel, or, and I'm talking, and what I'm speaking about here, you guys, is not, like, sometimes we have temporary things that come up. I'm talking, if we have something that has just placed itself in our bodies, this is what I'm talking about here. So, and the other thing is affirmations, and affirmations are powerful, and affirmations that you can actually feel and believe. Because like I say, if you create an affirmation and you can't believe it, it's like you're here and the goal is way out here, and you just feel powerless. So we bring it back to a place where we stretch, but we can believe it. Other than one of these affirmations, the rest of them I got from a book called Divine Remedies. I'm going to tell you, this old stuff is so good. It is so good. And I do want to tell you that, yes, anything can be healed. Yes, anything can be healed. And I also want to say to you that if it's not because you're doing anything wrong. I never want to set that up, that you're doing anything wrong. It's just, I do believe there's a bigger picture in life. We don't understand that picture. There's a mystery to life, but I know that God stands under everything. And so I trust whatever is unfolding. And at the same time, in my being, I am moving more and more to that place where I know that anything can be healed. Charles Fillmore literally grew his leg, and I can't remember how many inches? 4 inches. Grew his leg 4 inches. He was alive with a shorter leg. He had hurt his leg, and through using this energy and this power, he literally grew his leg. Hello? And we've seen it over and over again. And the thing is that we need to not put it outside of ourselves where we think, well, that can be for somebody else, but that can't be for me. It is for every one of us. No exceptions to the rule here. No exceptions. Every single one of us has access to the same life energy. And it's that same life energy that Jesus talked about, Jesus spoke about, that he was able to wake up in other people when he spoke to them. He woke that up in them. It wasn't that he healed them. It was the life energy that they woke up to, that moved in into and through them, that they believed, that they had faith in, that healed them. Because he would say what? According to your faith, it is done unto you. Here's the thing. You can have a healer come and do healing work on you, and you may feel better. But if you get up and you don't anchor into that, it's not going to stay. Because that life wasn't in the healer. It was in the healer, but your life energy is in you. And it's your mind. It's your mind that you want to fill with that. So we're going to do some affirmations together. So we're going to start with this one together. I am what I think. I think life. The life of God is released in me, and I am healed. My eyes are now made strong and whole by the renewing, vitalizing, energizing life of the Holy Spirit, which is active in them. I am filled with the abundant, free-flowing, cleansing, healing, harmonizing, vitalizing life of Christ. And in that life, I am every whit whole. Do you believe this? Yes. When you read this, can you feel that? Because you want to feel it. You want to get it into you. It's not something that you can speak and keep it in your head. And if you need to speak it over and over and do it with energy, do it with power, do it with feeling behind it, it will get into the cells of your being. It will get into every facet of your mind, and you will be healed. Another one. Together. God in the midst of me is mighty to cleanse my entire system, to uplift, to sustain, to heal, to strengthen, to vitalize, to renew, and to establish divine order and wholeness in every part of me. And our last one. All error is now eliminated from my mind and my body consciousness. Through my indwelling Christ, I am open and receptive to spiritual thought. I live and move and have my being in God. The purifying, vitalizing, healing Christ life is now doing its perfect work in and through me. Can I get an amen? Amen. So your homework for this week is to go be healthy. Is to go and do what is yours to do. How many of us here really want to be healthy? Yes? Woohoo! Yes? You're not going to get there by doing what you were doing before you walked in these doors. You've got to do something different, and you've got to do it on a consistent, persistent basis. And you've got to remember what you are. That no matter what is showing up in this physical body right now, what you are is you are life. And you are the wholeness. You are the totality of life. And its greatest desire is to express through you in the most brilliant way that it can. And you get to choose. You get to choose. So let's choose life. Let's choose health. Let's choose wholeness. Let's choose being active and being able to get down on the floor with the grandkids and be able to go out and hike and be able to go out and swim and to garden and to do the things that we love to do for the rest of our lives while we're here on this planet. Yes? Yes. And so it will be. And so as I say namaste to you today, what I'm saying to you is that the life in me celebrates and sees and is in such joy with the life that is flowing in each and every one of you at this very moment. And that life energy, I can already see that it is doing mighty works in and through each and every one of you in your mind and in your heart and in your body. And I can see that that life energy is moving you into the greatest, most brilliant life expression that you came here to be, because you are that life. And so it is, and so it shall be. Amen and amen.